Time now for our Ultimate Insider, brought to you by FFB Bank. Joined now by the Fresno State men's basketball radio analyst, Marc Q. Jones. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What is your first impression of this group 3 games in?
Well, the first thing I want to start off with something really positive. They really play hard. I like the style that Coach Wahlberg has them playing on defense. The help defense is there. They're light years ahead of where they were on some of that stuff from last year. I think that that's going to help them down the line, especially if they have a bad shooting night like they had on earlier in the week. But when you see when they get it going, it's a blowout win. So there's some positivity there.
Another positive, I think, in watching this team play, obviously the guard play this year looks improved. And you got Zayon Collins back, right? Yeah. How important it is to have your point guard back?
You know, Collins I think he likes this team. Personality-wise, they get along better. I think the players listen to him. He's really comfortable out there. And, you know, he has high breeder who can come off and shoot. So when Zayon is in the paint and he's scoring, that sucks the defense in. All of a sudden, old Jake starts hitting those bombs from way out there. That's going to hold well for the Dogs.
You mentioned Jake making an immediate impact, averaging 18 points a game so far this season. Yeah. When's the last time you saw a Bulldog shoot the way he does?
Oh, maybe Mitch Arnold back in the 80s before the three-point line came in. I wasn't here in the 90s for a lot of the stuff, but he's a really good shooter. And something else about Jake is he's 6'5". You know, when you see him on TV, it may not look that big, but he's a bigger guard that he can shoot over guys, and Coach has a lot of guys like that who can hoss tall. Those guys can shoot over you. I think that's a benefit, especially if you don't have the speed to beat guys off the dribble.
Coach, I know it's real early in the season, you know, just a few games in here, but what is something that gives you hope that this team can be a little bit more competitive than they were last year, maybe even a lot more competitive?
Well, I think one of the things I look towards is the defensive end. They're going to have to find a way to stop teams from getting in the paint, and that's going to be done through help defense. I was talking to assistant coach Ray Bearfield, and he's talking about that's something they're really emphasizing is defensive transition and stopping the ball and making sure that they make it difficult for teams to score against them. Of course, rebounding. They got a big 7-foot Frenchman down there. I don't know how he makes his French toast over there, but that's a big guy, and I think that's going to all help you. Rebounding and the defense gives me hope that when they have a bad shooting night, that will hold them up so they can get victories, those tough road victories.
What's something that concerns you when it comes to winning more games in the Mountain West?
The Mountain West itself. Now, what you're seeing throughout college basketball is a systemic problem. The teams are just getting to know one another. So you're going to see some upsets. You're going to see some losses that may be bad. But by the time teams get into the Mountain West, these really good coaches in this conference will have their defense set, their rotation set. They spend a lot of money to get the talent out there. That's going to be really difficult. Do you have enough size? And some of the road games, when you go into New Mexico, you go into Lawler, you go up to Utah to see those crazies up there, it is really difficult to win games. And so that's going to be a real challenge. And of course, can you stay healthy? I mean, every team needs to have good health to have success.
Coach, you already talked about Hydebreeder, who's one of the newcomers this year, but give me another newcomer that early in the season that's kind of popped for you. Is it the 7-footer Wilson Jack?
Well, I like Big Jack, and I like those big guys, and Jack Wilson's one of them. He's a real positive, and I think he's going to only continue to get better. He sets those big, hard picks. He hits you hard. He's a big earth mover. I like that. But the surprise guy is a local kid. I think he won the game for him the other day early on when he came in and changed the pace. And I call him the stick, but Stickman is the guy that I think he has long arms, he's athletic, he knows what Coach Wahlberg wants, and he's been in his system. He's going to bring you that energy off the bench that changes pace. And Coach Wahlberg likes to change the pace, and I think he saved him the other day. He's the guy, as he gets better and understands, he can guard people in the Mountain West, and those guards in the Mountain West are tough, and he's going to be one of the guys that has to deal with it.
Schedule seems a lot friendlier this year, 7 home games to get things started. How does that help this group?
I know it helps me. None of us are traveling during this TSA thing. And for you workers out there, appreciate you showing up. I think it helps because the other night they had a tough loss at home. You don't get on a plane, you don't stay in a hotel. You're able to go to your own home, rest, and practice the next day. You're not getting on one another's nerves. You're fixing stuff in real time. It's a lot easier to do it. When you have home games, I think it only just helps. Now, the issue will be, can they stay healthy enough to where they can get everybody in the game and Coach Wahlberg can see what he has? Because I think the other night when they lost that tough one, he played a lot of guys. And I talked to his son, Jason Wahlberg. We talk almost before every game. And developing that knockout punch, playing the right lineups long enough to get that big enough lead, and waiting, which is hard for all coaches, to find out if the parachute will open on some guys, because you don't know when you have a new team.
You know, Coach, obviously we're all desperate for a winner, right? With Fresno State men's basketball. And I think nobody wants to win more than Vance Wahlberg does. But, you know, it's tough, right? It's hard to win in college basketball these days, especially at Fresno State right now. How much internal pressure do you think he's feeling this season in year 2, you know, to produce some more wins?
Well, I think he's a competitor. Like most coaches I've either played for or worked with, or even myself as a coach. The way he shows it, it really wears on him. And, you know, you can see him putting his effort out there, how hard his players work. It is tough to win games, and to lose one earlier this week was tough. But what you hope that happens is you learn enough from that loss that wins you 2 or 3 tough games down the line. And that's where you have a chance to be a winner. Can they stay healthy, get hot, make big shots? He's got the team he likes. He's got the opportunities he's wanted for years. This is his year to shine and make it happen.
The Bulldogs only won 6 games last year, but this is pretty much a new team. Only 4 guys returning. What's a realistic expectation for this group?
More than 6 for sure. You know, that was a tough one last year on all parties involved. I think having, like Scott mentioned, the favorable home schedule where you're playing a lot of games at home, it gives you a chance to fix stuff. And you wouldn't believe how practice plays into it when you don't have guys who are familiar with one another. You don't have a culture. It's a whole new team every year. So I think that, you know, he certainly should come out of the non-conference with a winning schedule, and then you get in the conference, and who knows? You get hot at the right time. Hey, that's all it takes.
Coach, give me a quick thought before we let you go on the return to Selland game coming the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I know you've been following this program since you were a kid, right? You saw games at Selland Arena. How excited are you about that?
As excited as I was the day my dad took me to go see the Soviets play Fresno State, and Sabonis was playing. I was about 11 years old. It was a great feeling. That place is, to me, is home. I love being at the Selland Arena. I hope everyone shows up so the Dogs can show out. I cannot wait for that environment. That's going to be big. Just think about who's been in there. Jabbar, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, all the greats who've been in those locker rooms. Oh, the nostalgia is going to be out of control.
Coach, thanks for coming in. We always appreciate it when Coach Q joins the Bulldog Insider.